Hey guys, welcome back to Two Terrible Sports Analysts. I'm with Ashton as always,
Hey guys, what's up?
and let's get rolling. Sorry for the delay on this episode, but with travel and everything else, we've already mentioned it on our Free Terrible Gamers podcast. If you want to know the full reasoning, hop over there and listen to it.
Drag him over here.
And we was also supposed to do this before the World Series started, and it's already Astros are up 3-2 on it. So, what's your predictions, and who do you think is going to win at this point? If it's different than what it was before,
So you said they're up 3-2 right now.
they're up 3-2 right now. Astros are.
Well, that kind of debunks my prediction. My prediction was Phillies 4-2. So then I'll change my prediction to Phillies 4-3. I still think the Phillies are going to win. I believe in them. I'm in Pennsylvania right now, so let's get it done. I'm not a baseball fan, but I'm in Pennsylvania, so come on, Phillies, let's get it.
Yeah, we're not really baseball people, but the World Series is always worth talking about.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
It's
I don't
just
mind
like
watching
any
the World
championship
Series.
games.
Right, you get excited for a championship. May not watch any of the other games of the year, but you follow the championship, except for hockey. I don't follow them, even the championship.
We would still cover it once it pops up again.
We'll cover it. I just won't watch it.
And yeah, I'm not really watching the baseball one either, and I've been a Phillies fan for a while.
I knew you was.
Yeah, my prediction beforehand was the Astros was going to win it. I wasn't fancy like Ashton. I didn't choose what game it was going to be. But I say since they're up 3-2, I say they'll probably tie things off tonight.
Okay.
Well, at the time of speaking, obviously by the time you hear it probably will already been over for a couple days. But Game 6 is...
Well, this one will go out today.
Yeah, it's either tonight or in an hour or two. But yeah, it's definitely right now. I say Astros are going to walk away with it. As bad as I hate to say it, but the Phillies were complete underdogs. Right. I think they was 8th seed coming into the playoffs this year.
Well, they started out, they were winning the series, but then the Astros came back and.
I meant the whole season. They started out as like the 8th seed.
Oh, yeah. I meant the
playoffs
series, like the World Series.
Oh, yeah, in the series, I think they was up 2-0.
Yeah. Blew a 2-0 lead, which is, I mean, that's common in the sports world. When it gets up to 3-0 is whenever it's uncommon for to blow the lead, which it has happened in the past, but it's not common.
Yeah. But speaking of blowing leads, Matt Ryan got benched for the Colts. How do you feel about that situation? And obviously, he was the one that blew the 28-3 lead over New England that one year in the Super Bowl.
Right. So, any player that gets benched for lack of, I don't want to say lack of, but for inconsistent play, I guess, I think they deserve to get benched. The coach at that point knows that he has to make a decision to win ball games. So if he feels that the best decision to win ball games is to bench one of their best players, then so be it. So if they're not helping them win ball games, they're not helping them at all. So that's the whole point in sports, is to win. So whatever it takes to win, coach has to make a decision. And he's shocked, but I think he just has to embrace the role as the backup right now and prove to him that he deserves to get back in that starting line. And I know we've touched on it before, but it just seems like a Russell Westbrook situation to me, that Russ has recently been coming off the bench. So he has to, he's disappointed, but he needs to do the same, embrace it, and just come to play games every night as the sixth man. Whatever it takes to win is how they should look at it.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, Matt Ryan's a little bit older. He's been in the league a little bit longer than what Westbrook has been in the NBA. Just because Matt Ryan is
Right, but
he's not necessarily part of the same draft classes, but like within the 2 or 3 year span, you had quarterbacks like Big Ben, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Well, not Peyton, but Eli Manning, the whole shebang. You had that whole entire group of quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan was involved with all of them in the couple years of them all getting drafted around the same time frame. So the guy's getting up there in age as well as everybody else.
right. But the thing with Russ is he's playing like he's a 19-year vet or something.
Yeah. So the fact that he's still in the league, just like I said about Rodgers and Brady, it's still amazing that he's still in the league. But
It
obviously the
is,
Colts
yeah.
think that their second string quarterback to start the season is better than him now.
Well, I mean, as you get older, obviously your body declines, your skill declines. It's sad to say, but that's just what happens. So, I mean, it's just life. It's sad to say, but you got to deal with it. And you just got to eventually, you're going to retire. I mean, you had your run, you had your time in the league. It's time to give it up to the younger guys sometimes.
You think he'll retire after this year?
If he doesn't get back in the starting lineup, yeah, I think he will.
What
do you think?
Yeah, I say because the guy has Hall of Fame accolades. He's never won a championship, but the NFL don't make as hard of a time getting into the Hall of Fame than what the NBA does about championship winning.
Right.
But
there's 32 teams everywhere. Yeah, there's 32 teams. Only one can win a championship. So, the NBA has 30, but 32 is more than 30. So, and the way the NFL is, just talent shifts more from year to year than the NBA does. So, they look at more skills and personal milestones than the NBA does, I guess.
And you get less chances to make it to the championship in the NFL because you only play 16 games for a regular season.
Right, instead of 82.
Bad in your playoff series, it's one and done.
Yeah.
NBA teams have at least
7
games to
prove 4
themselves.
games, yeah. But up to 7 games.
But yeah, so it's harder to win in the NFL than what it is in the NBA per se.
Right.
Oh, right. So sticking with the NFL, and there's been a lot more games being played over in Europe. Do you think we may as well just go ahead and add teams across seas?
So I've seen the game. I'm guessing the game you're referring to was Tampa Bay versus the Seahawks on November 13th.
It was, and I think Minnesota and somebody else had played like the week prior.
Oh, okay. But I think it's great to expand the audience over there because the NBA does something similar like that to China. But it's great to expand the audience. But they got to realize if they do add, say, expansion teams or something over there, then that's just going to make their guys travel a lot more. They already travel the whole United States, and that's a lot of travel on those guys. But if they have to go completely overseas just to play, say, a 1-game night, and then there's no way they could, I don't know, it's just, that's a lot of travel on them players. Yeah, it's not like the NBA, how they can do back-to-backs, but they play once a week typically, the NFL does, so it'd be easier, but it'd still be a lot of travel on them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, I'm all for the whole entire thing because, that is part of what they do is travel in the first place. And I don't think anyone ever went into the league and said, I don't want to travel at all.
Right. It's usually not a big deal for them, but it is it takes a toll on the body, and it's tiring to travel a lot.
Oh, yeah. And, I've flown once and I got jet lag staying in the same time zone, so I can only imagine constantly switching time zones.
Right, yeah.
I've been traveling across.
I've never flown, but I don't want
days.
Yeah,
because I think they're a little bit ahead of us, aren't they?
They are depending on where, but like say like I don't know, United Kingdom or something, they're like 4 hours ahead of us on the Eastern time zone.
Yeah, but you think you take a Western team like the any
Right.
buddy in our Pacific
Like the
time
LA
zone, and
Rams or
they travel over
something.
to Europe, they're like an 8 hour difference almost.
Yeah, the LA Rams, they're 3 hours behind us. And if in Europe they're 4 hours ahead of us in the East, man, that's for those West guys, that's rough.
Yeah, so like I said, it's not quite days. I mean, obviously there's only 24 hours in a day's time, and I'm pretty sure every single time zone eventually equals out to. So I'm guessing if you're like at one end of the time zone and the other end of the time zone, you could technically be almost a full day apart. But you know what I mean by that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's several hours anyway, and that'd be rough. But I mean, yeah, they could do it. It'd be nice to see, but like,
Because I mean, the NBA already forced with that idea. I mean, granted, we're on the same technical continent, but with the Canadian teams.
right. Yeah, it's easier to go to Toronto, or I mean, it used to be Vancouver, but Toronto now. It's easier to go to Toronto than it is, say, Ireland or something.
That's true. And a lot closer.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to just fly because Toronto's not far into Canada. It's just basically right across the border, so it's not like far, far into Canada. So it's easier to just get a flight there and flight out, even if you have a back to back.
Yeah. Which NFL usually the closest that they could play technically would be a Monday night game and a Thursday night game, but usually it's not like that. It's usually if they play Sunday, they can play Thursday and then not play until Sunday again. But usually that leads
Right,
into a bye week anyways.
right. That's why I said it. It wouldn't be as hard on the NFL because they don't have back to backs like the NBA does, but it'd still be a lot of travel on those guys, just not as hard as it would be for the NBA or something.
Oh yeah, because I mean, shoot, there's some games in the NBA where a Western and an Eastern team will be playing each other, then they'll turn right back around and go play the same exact team at the other team's stadium.
Right. Yeah.
It's like LA and Boston. It's like, oh, okay, we're going over to LA to play today, and tomorrow we're back over here in Boston playing the same exact
Play the
team.
same team. Yeah, it's crazy how they do that. I mean, they try to limit nowadays in the NBA back to backs, but there's still several in the schedule. You can't. I mean, to fit it all into the specific time of the season, you're going to have back to backs. There's just no way around it unless you expand the season.
Yeah, and put gaps in between what it is. So, but at that point, having that many games, you would almost have to make it a year-round thing.
Right, and I mean, I said either expand the season or I didn't say that, but I meant expand the season or tune down the games instead of 82, maybe do 72, 62, something, less games on the season. But nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see less NBA. So I think the only way they do it is to expand that season. And like you said, at that point, might as well make it all year round.
Because there was a time where Adam Silver was trying to boost up more games, like add a few more games to the season.
Yeah, and speaking of expansion teams, though, I seen that he was exploring the idea of getting a couple more expansion teams in the NBA.
Now, what is it?
Adam Silver was exploring the idea of opening up opportunities for a couple more expansion teams in the NBA.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what they're at 30 now. I'd say
Yeah.
probably 36 would probably be the maximum that would make sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Then have 18 in each conference.
Yeah.
Or shoot, go up to 40 and make it 20 and 20.
They didn't do expansion teams. They need to throw one in West Virginia.
And fix the conferences because obviously you got some Western teams that's technically East, and then you got like the Memphis Grizzlies that's obviously in Tennessee, but they're a Western team because where they used to be Vancouver.
Right. And I mean, it used to be worse because I believe it was when the Miami Heat was first made, when they were an expansion team. They were part of the Western Conference, but obviously in Miami, Florida. So that made their schedule very, very tough and a lot of travel on those guys because they were part of the Western Conference.
Yep. And like I said, I think Memphis is basically doing the same thing now. They would get an easier, not necessarily an easier schedule, but less traveling if they was to be part of the Eastern Conference.
Right. Yeah.
Less, less time zone changes, anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has already passed two, and he's already
Yeah.
accomplished it yet again. We were behind, but I want to switch it up, switch the wording around. Bill Belichick has become the second most winning coach in NBA. I mean, not NBA, NFL. Do you think he has the years left in him to make it to first place?
How many games does he need?
I think 40 more. 40 more? Yeah, Don Shaw holds the current record of 328 with just regular season, and then being combined with 347 with playoffs. And Belichick has 294 regular season and 325 with playoffs. So yeah, just at 22 games.
22.
22.
I'd say it depends on how his Patriots do, because if I mean, right now they're 4-4, and if they stay positive, I'll say if they win more games than they lose, yeah, because obviously there's 16, so they get at least a winning record. I think he can. If they take a losing record every year, no, I don't think so. He'll retire before he gets to.
I'm actually going to say because the guy is the coach version of what Brady was. That's why they worked so well together for when they was working together. So and
Right.
more people's. It's easier for him to grab people because he's been in coaching for so long than what it was for Brady to switch teams for sure. So Belichick, I think throughout his whole entire coaching career, he's averaged a 12-4 regular season. That's his average. Maybe 11-5, but he
Yeah.
still wins more than what he loses every single year. So, yet again, even finishing out this season, if he was to go 8-8, he still wins 4 more games. So that knocks it down to 18 games. Guy's almost had a perfect season one time in his career. Granted, he's probably never going to come that close to it again. But,
No.
I'm just saying, in theory, he could have the record broken 2 more years.
Yeah, you're right.
2 more years, not counting this year. So, like, 2 more seasons after this one.
Yeah.
The season's already halfway over.
And before we go on, I would say we was going to talk about whether we thought he would become the second winning coach. And obviously we just talked about he did, but I said no, he wasn't. So I would have been wrong on that. I would have said that they would have lost to the Jets, but they did not. They beat the Jets 22-17.
It was a closer game than I anticipated it to be, but it's the Jets. If you lose to the Jets, you just need to quit.
Well, I mean, the Jets are not bad this year. They're 5-3.
All 3 teams need to quit.
You mean all five?
Well, 5 teams. Yeah, 5 teams need to quit.
Well, I don't know. Those 5 teams were the Broncos, the Packers, the Dolphins, the Steelers, and the Browns. So not the greatest teams, but I mean, the Packers are, they're hit and miss this year, it seems. Steelers aren't doing real well. And I would say the Jets will lose their next game to the Bills. That's a prediction for me. Free topic there, I guess. It's not really a topic, but
Yeah, just a quick discussion.
yeah.
All right, sticking with the NFL though, do you think they'll stick with the? I guess there's been a debate going on obviously different fields, different teams have different types of fields, obviously, but I think everyone's trying to switch to just straight grass fields exclusively. How do you think that's going to plan out, and what do you think the overall field should be? Even if you think it should be AstroTurf or just a regular turf.
Well, turf is easier to keep up, obviously. It's easier to maintain. You don't have to mow it. I mean, it's easier to just keep up the field that way. But I think that actually playing, because me and you, we have experience on playing on turf and grass, and I just think playing on a grass field better.
And cement.
Yeah, we play with it too. But I just think playing on grass, that's you get the feeling that's how it's supposed to be played. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I just get a more personal feeling to the grass than other people do. But I just feel like that's how the game's supposed to be played, is on grass. So, and I think grass is, I could be wrong, but I think grass is ultimately safer than turf, I guess, for the guys,
It's less slick.
Right. So I think that they should go to grass fields exclusively. I seen that this debate was making a lot of people mad, saying, no, 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 don't go to grass, stay with turf, whatever. But I think, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just go to grass. It's safer. Yeah, you got to mow it. Yeah, you got to paint the field, whatever. Big deal. People done it for years before they went to turf. So I think grass would be the better option.
And you're an NFL team, you're just going to hire someone to do it anyways.
Right. You don't have to do, the coaches aren't going to go out there and do it. The players.
It's not like how it is, like at our high school, our coaches going out there and mowing it every single week.
Right. And we've mowed it. At least I have. I've mowed it. I've painted it, or helped do it rather. Not done the whole thing.
I've helped paint it. I haven't personally mowed it, but yeah. So like I said, it just comes down to one of those things of like, okay, it's again, we're talking about the NFL. We're not talking about some high school. It's they're going to be able to afford to pay somebody to mow that grass, give that guy a championship ring when they win the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, that guy will be happy. I don't care. I mean, he'll be able to say he gets to mow grass for an NFL team. That's a bragging right in itself. Hire somebody to do it. Give somebody that privilege.
Yeah, like I said, and as you said, turf, and that's pretty much the discussion. Although it was more of the technical safety concern, but it's every player needs at least 3 pairs of cleats, is what they said, because you never know what field you're going to. I mean, obviously they know what field they're going to be on, but it's just one of those things. They're just like us to an extent. They don't want to go out and buy cleats for every single occasion.
Right, exactly.
I mean, even though they can afford it, but it's just one of those things that would be annoying to have that many pairs of shoes, cleats, just for a one-off game.
Yeah, like we had against Valley that one year.
Because I remember us playing on turf fields, they would always have like a special turf cleat, and then we would be smart to go in our tennis shoes.
Yeah, because cleats, you sliding all over that field. Especially when the dew set, it was hard. You could not stand up.
But it should definitely be, like you said, just switch to straight grass, and everyone should have the same type of thing. That way, again, it goes down to the whole entire making an even playing field for everybody. if you make everything grass. I know there's different
Right.
types of grasses and everything else, but yet again, it's the NFL, and I know different types of grasses can only live in certain environments. But at the same time, you guys should get the closest grass fit you can get to every other team.
Yeah, I mean that shouldn't be that hard. So do you share my love for grass, or is that just me that you'd rather play on a grass field?
I I do for an extent, but at the same time, I I played with both type of fields flooded. It is nicer to play on a flooded turf field from what it is a flooded football field, like grass field. But
Yeah,
at the same time, when it comes down to safety and everything else, I'm all for people being safe.
right. All right. You think we'll have time to knock out these last two?
I don't know about the last two, maybe one.
One.
It may. They're relatively quick ones. We should be able to knock them out. Jaylen Brown and Aaron Darnold left Donda Sports Management after them still being in association with Kanye. Do you think they made the right decisions with what's going on with those situations?
So they left because they were still in association with Kanye, or because they were not anymore?
I believe Donda was the only, like, after everything had happened, they was the only company that stuck with Kanye's side on that.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think they did make the right decision if they did leave because they kept him, because he should have been dropped from everything. Because I mean, it's not okay to say anything about any type of certain people. So I think Adidas, he lost a shoe deal with Adidas, I believe, and it was over that remark he made. So I think they made the right decision on, you know, taking away a shoe deal, and Jaylen Brown and Aaron Donald did make the right decision to leave because they stuck by Kanye.
Yeah, it makes, I mean, like I said, I think they chose the right decision because it's not, I mean, obviously Kanye went against the Jewish community, is what he pretty much done with his comment. And I think Jaylen Brown
Yeah.
and Arnold Donald are huge on civil rights in today's time and standards.
Right.
And
Yeah.
even though it's the Jewish community, and this is kind of a hard topic to step around without making it seem bad, regardless, but I think Jaylen Brown and Aaron Darnold specifically are seeing the bigger picture with you can't do that. I mean, obviously, it's not right to do it to anybody. It don't matter of your race, status, whatever. But at the same time, I think Jaylen and Arnold are not Arnold. Aaron just mixed the two names together.
I like
uh,
that.
but I think they're seeing the bigger picture of, okay, it's just not the community that they're trying to associate with, but it's the whole entire general world needs to come together as one, and just not one specific group versus the other.
Right. And that's how it should be. I mean, you're never going to get everybody to like each other or agree with each other, but it's good to have some people that believe that you can. And I think you should strive to do that, to get along with everybody, no matter who they are, how they are, whatever. Doesn't matter color of skin, just matters personality and everything.
Or religion or anything like that.
Yeah.
All right. Now that my heart rate's up for talking about that topic, Thompson versus Booker, which yet again happened last week. So, how'd your feelings on that altercation?
Well, saying Klay was ejected after two technicals, and Booker got attacked because of one of the exchanges. I like the competitiveness, but there's lately the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in the NBA, there's been a lot more fights than there used to be. So like I said, I like the competitiveness. And I know people are going trash talk. That's part of the game, but sometimes it goes too far.
I would say there's more jabberjaw than what there used to be, because if you're trying to compare it to an 80 or 90s NBA with fights, you're definitely way off on that.
Well, I mean, yeah, because of stuff like that. I mean, most of the time it
Or at least it's
wasn't
getting
big.
called more.
It may be getting called, but I'm saying like back in the 80s and 90s, they got into fights mostly because of something that happened in the game, not necessarily trash talk. Because generally back then, trash talk, they just took that to heart, so they started playing better. They put that in their game, not put it on their sleeve and started crying about it and getting fights over it. Is what I'm saying. Just the times are different. The way they react to the trash talk, it makes them mad, so they start fighting over that instead of putting it in their game.
Gotcha. My little thing on it was, I mean, Booker said this himself. He's just like, the guy used to be an icon, and now, it's a rival situation, especially since, they're playing against each other more. And
The Suns started
as
it.
you're saying, Suns are doing something, so therefore they're playing more in the playoffs, the whole 9 yards. So therefore they're seeing,
Right.
they're in the same conference, and then they're seeing each other more to come in the season. So, I mean, obviously tensions are going to build with everything else. But obviously, if they're both smart, they're going to learn to keep it shut and, like you said, just transparent to their game in the future.
Right.
All right. I believe that is all the time we got for this one and all the topics.
Sure is.
Until we record our next one in like literally 2 seconds. But you guys still won't see that one until Tuesday.
That's right.
So tune back in for episode 10 when it comes out and gets released.
Be whatever Tuesday's date is. The 8th, we talked
Should
about.
be the 8th. Got anything you want to tell them by for Ashton?
Well, just if you haven't already, give us a listen on our gaming podcast, Three Terrible Gamers, and just follow our YouTube. It's under the Three Terrible Gamers, but we do post these sports podcast episodes on there as well. And just keep listening. Helps us out. We appreciate it.
All right. Later, guys.